Last week, we finally got the much anticipated, highly rumored trailer for Resident Evil 9, and it was glorious. Since Village, it's been about 4 years, and by the time the game comes out on February 27th, we'll be just shy of the 5-year mark since our last full release in the continuing series narrative. Can't come soon enough. But in terms of the trailer, we got a lot of new interesting details to mull over, so I thought today we'd take a look at what we learned and some of the information that seems credibly rumored surrounding Resident Evil 9 Requiem.
Grace! Grace! Grace Ashcroft.
Yes?
We start the trailer at the FBI, an institution that hasn't really been established in the RE world, with a supervisor named Nathan Dempsey walking through the offices with purpose. He stops at a woman named Grace Ashcroft's desk as she's deep in work on a report about a string of deaths linked to a strange new disease. The photos kind of make the person seem like a zombie, perhaps? There's no noticeable mutations, I suppose, is the most noteworthy thing. Dempsey calls Grace to his office, and we see that she's a bit of a nervous person, but very studious. He tells her that there's been another incident of the disease, and he wants her to go out and investigate because he needs a good technical analyst. He gives her a file alongside the location of where the body was found, the Wrenwood Hotel. A location that we're unfamiliar with, but Grace is not, as her mother, Alyssa Ashford, was apparently murdered there. Alyssa being a character from Resident Evil Outbreak, who we'll get back to in a minute. But first we get some shaky glimpses of Alyssa, and who's implied to be her murderer, some hooded guy who's out here looking like the Bye-Bye Man. Dempsey tells Grace that it may be good for her to visit the hotel and face her past. Grace lost in thought as we get flashes to her memories of Wrenwood, culminating in her being strapped upside down on a table as she panics.
What is this? Hey! Help!
After that, we get a slew of establishing shots, some dialogue, and some shadowy character reveals. First, there's a man in a chair who we can't really see, but some have suggested he's Brandon Bailey. After that, we get the massive reveal of Raccoon City post-explosion. The implication obviously being that we'll be headed back there, which sounds amazing. We then see a dying glasses man who seems to have his throat slit, some shadowy hallway demon with shackles on a wrist, the Bye-Bye Man bagging another glasses man, and what appears to be a man turning into a zombie. He also looks to be wearing a policeman's uniform. Random woman walking down a hallway before finally what seems to be confirmation of the return of zombies. The trailer concluding with the title and the release date of February 27th, 2026. Lots of stuff to look at, but kinda thin on revelations. The biggest probably being Grace and Alyssa Ashcroft. If you're unfamiliar with Alyssa, she was one of the playable characters in Resident Evil Outbreak, a game that seems to be maintaining its importance in the universe, despite how difficult it is to play these days. Unfortunately, I've never owned the game. I've never even owned a PS2, which is the only console that it was released on, but based on the wiki and the cutscenes for the game, she was a journalist who was operating in Raccoon City during the time of the outbreak in 1998. Alyssa being one of the few people to survive the ordeal, but not without being infected by a strain of the T-virus known as Epsilon in the drinking water. Despite that, she would eventually escape, getting vaccinated to rid her of the virus, and eventually have a daughter named Grace. To take a total stab in the dark, this flashy scene looks to me like we may start the game as Alyssa and see her death before the game opens, because it kinda looks like gameplay to me, reminiscent of running from Nemesis at the beginning of RE3's remake. Alternatively, we could also perhaps see this in a demo, which Capcom seems to be doing quite a bit since Resident Evil 7. As for Grace, we don't really know anything about her, but given that her mother was infected with Epsilon, that could be the gateway for why Chairman is interested in her. Similar to Wesker finding use for Jill in RE5, or Rose being of use to Miranda in RE8. Grace could have antibodies that this man is after, which is why she's the chosen one.
The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
Who this man is, well, like I said, speculation would be Brandon Bailey. I made a whole video on who that is if you're interested, but basically he has deep ties to James Marcus, one of the founders of Umbrella, and he was also the founder of current series Big Bad, The Connections. If this is him, then it makes sense in both aspects. He's in Raccoon, probably searching for something of Marcus's, and he's also tied in with all the black market dealings of the last few games to tie up those story threads. Which leads us into rumors and speculation. A lot of the rumors come from a poster named Dusk Golem, who seems to have some credibility. He's called things correctly in terms of leaks before, but they're often kind of general. Anyway, the most prevalent recent leaks would be that Leon Kennedy is going to be the most prominent character in RE9, Grace is going to be more of a side plot, and that Raccoon isn't going to be the main setting, just have several sections where we're in it. Take both these claims with a grain of salt. Again, they are just rumors, but I can see some validity to them. From previous rumors, this game is supposed to be sort of a finale to Umbrella's storyline, specifically to like RE2, RE3, and I guess RE4, which would make sense in terms of those remakes being out before this game's release. Leon current day is 48, I believe, so his story coming to some kind of end would be sad, but if they're gonna do it, there is no better place than Raccoon. We've also heard in the past rumors that this game is going to be open world, but those rumors have kind of been walked back. Newer suggestions saying that it's going to be more of an open space, but not truly open. My mind goes to The Evil Within 2 when I hear open world horror, but it's probably going to be like Village's limited exploration of zones, just scaled up to a grander scale. But with all that being said, we're still in the early stages of knowing anything about this game, and we're probably going to see more and more info rolling in over the coming weeks. In fact, Capcom has their annual summer showcase coming up, which I assume they're still going to be doing, and we'll probably learn more there. Last year it was in July, so we'll see if they keep that tradition. Anyway, thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.